Hi, my name is Rachel, and this is my project for technology class in my school. In this project, we had to create some sort of scene or something using a program called Google SketchUp. This is my scene. It's a cabin. I got this idea from a book. My favorite book is the Percy Jackson series. And in this book, there's a summer camp, and all of the cabins in this camp are modeled after some Greek god or goddess. And the guy in the book didn't really describe the cabins, so I decided to create one of my own. This cabin is the cabin for the Greek goddess Artemis, goddess of the hunt and wild places. I've incorporated the tree here because she's the goddess of the wild places. Her symbols are the moon. Are the moon. I create a moon skylight here, and the bow and arrow, which is right here. In this project, we had to use different tools. One of the tools I used was the offset tool up here. We use this tool to create the walls of my cabin. Another tool I used was the arc tool. I use this to create the bow and arrow and to create the moon openings. Another tool I used was the painting tool. The painting tool basically colors stuff, gives textures. You can create wood, you can create like vegetation, or even metal. You can even make metal. The fourth tool I used was the rotate tool. I used the rotate tool to make the pillows from this bed to this bed. I sort of copied the template and I dragged it over, and then I rotated it to fit this bed. The fifth tool I used was the move/copy tool with option. This basically creates a exact copy of what you're selecting. I use that to create all of the pillows from one template. I drew it on here and then I copied it and rotated it to all of the other bunks. And the last tool I used was the dimension box. The dimension box, which is down here, is where you can type measurements in and it'll snap to, you can create something that's like exactly 13 feet long if you want to. And I can use this for pretty much all of the tree, just to make it sort of the same size. In this project, we must have 10 shapes total. The main shape I used was the polygon for pretty much all of the tree. I also used rectangles for the bunks. I used squares for the post here and for the total cabin shape. I used a rectangle to create the windows. There's the bow, which is an arc, and the arrow. There is the circle for the skylight and the moon shape itself. And what else? Also there's the square for the whole thing, for the whole land plot. So that's a lot of shapes. I have to have 10 components or pieces. Components are where if, say, this piece is a component and I create this piece and I mess it up, then it doesn't mess up the original piece. So I use components to create pretty much all of the tree, just so that I didn't have to mess up and start all over again if I did. I also must have 5 textures. Textures are like colors, but they're not like plain colors. They're like grass, or if you can see here, there's ivy leaves, and that's a texture. One of the textures is the ivy leaves. There's also the wood for the tree and the wood for the post here. Also, this bunk, and this bunk have bed sheets that are textured, so there's 3. There also is the ground outside of the cabin, so that's 7 textures. I only need to do 5. I also must have 5 colors. There's the background wall color, which is blue, and then this bunk, and this bunk have bed sheets that are just colors, not textures. I also used various shades of gray for the inside of the cabin, for the walls, the ceiling, and up into the skylight. I also used gray for the moon thing. And this model must look good from all angles, so I'm just going to orbit around it real quick. As you can see, I put a lot of time into this, and I'm very proud of my work. Thank you for listening. Again, my name is Rachel, and this is my project for tech class.